Good morning. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage on your side, your wisdom guided oracle, and we're having coffee. My beautiful spring mug with the beautiful flowers inside. One of the things I love about this, I have one other mug that's got that kind of thing too. And pretty much, well, this was a gift from my youngest daughter. The other one I chose pretty much because of the flowers on the inside. It's truly those little things in life that make life wonderful. So, checking in. How are you? How are you feeling? What's going on? Probably lots. Could be you're feeling a little not okay, and that's okay. This message today is about aligning with your true self, and that is often admitting when things are not okay for you. So, what does that look like moving forward? The beautiful Radiant Tarot is the one coming through today. This deck is one of the most gorgeous decks I've ever received. It was a gift, sort of. I was asked to do readings at an event. This woman, it was a belly dancing event. It was outrageous. The woman who choreographed the event, which I mean, belly dancing was never really on my radar. Not, I appreciated it, had practiced it earlier in an effort to stay in shape, just with videos. But this was such a cool thing. And the woman that choreographed it did the artwork for this tarot. And I was gifted this set. For doing that. And so haven't looked at the cards yet. And just a reminder, I don't read tarot. I do use tarot, so I will be looking up and then going from there. So this video is about aligning with your truest self. And I remember many years ago now, somebody going, or some message I received somehow went, well, what do you want? I went, I don't know what I want. I don't even know who I am. It has never been something that I've asked. I mean, my job when I came into this world alone and promising not to be any trouble as much as I could not be, my wants and desires weren't forefront. No martyrdom energy here. I would get the things I wanted. I would figure out a way to, or I would make the not having them okay enough that I could move forward. So asking myself, oh, lovely, Julie. I'm glad to hear that. My other friend, Jewel, also dealing with funerals on two sides of this continent right now. One was her mother, and the other is her brother-in-law. So, sending both Julies, much love for anybody watching this would be great. So looking to what it is that it means to align with our truest self, and why would we want to do that? Let's look at this first card. It is the Ten of Wands, which is a very high vibe card just in the artwork. This beautiful, beautiful deck. I just can't even say that enough. 10 of Wands, but this came up in reverse. So let's find out what the 10 of Wands is about. Description: against a warm yellow sky, 10 wands in bud are barely contained in a colorful woven basket. The prune branches flower and sprout with green life. The weighty load sits firmly on lush grass. The wands represent willpower and creativity. The journey is a good one, but the basket in the 10 of Wands is too heavy and bulky to carry for long. The burden has accumulated until it's unwieldy and has been set on the ground. In a sense, this is the darker side of ambition. The more we achieve, the weightier the load we carry. We have overburdened ourselves. How do we lighten the load? A load seems lighter when we remember it is part of a life plan in our journey to and through happiness. Yet the tenfold load of the 10 of Wands feels like a lot, the dailiness of it. And so the pressure of a deadline. This wand, the 10 of Wands coming up in reverse, is saying that this journey into your truest self does not have to be hard or weighty or arduous. We can choose for it to be gentle and light, and by simply allowing the truth of who we are to be made aware on a daily basis to us. I'm open, I'm willing, I'm ready, guide me. That's what that power spiritual causal team will do for us. Give us the awarenesses, the hints that something is in front of us that can help us understand things more. So many of us have spent, particularly women, but not solely, but so many of us have spent our lives serving and being what the others needed us to be, that our needs and wants and desires have never really been in the forefront. Therefore, the knowingness, good morning, Francesca, of who we truly are is behind this veil of, I don't know, I'm just here. I keep doing these things that I think I'm supposed to do and trying to fit into these molds that generally it's us who has put us in. Socialization certainly has created ideas for us that we have to be certain ways in order to be acceptable. And trying to fit into those boxes has caused us great distress throughout our lives. So aligning with our true self, as this 10 of Wands in reverse reminds us, is this is not an arduous journey. This is actually very easy and weightless if we will allow. It is the wrestling of the how and what that all means that causes us the stress of our truest self being able to come through. The next card that came up was the Knight of Pentacles. Ooh, beautiful. Also in reverse. So let's see what the Knight of Pentacles in reverse is about. I think one of these days I may be prompted to actually learn tarot, but that's not today. The Knight of Pentacles is not off questing, battling giants and ghost-inhabited suits of armor. He is rooted in earth, grounded and solid, inclined to build patiently sequestered instead of restless questioning or questioning the world outside his door. To some, he would be boring, a workaholic, but he persists. A girl stands in her driveway. This is the musing. Mouth twisted into a frown, and throws the orange ball again and again, barely trying. It bounces off the hoop, the backboard, the pole even, but never goes through the net. She's frustrated, but she's stubborn. So when her mind calms, she begins to try, but most of the time she fails. Yet every day after school, she stands there throwing the ball again and again. In 2 days, her muscles ache so much she can barely continue in a week. There is a change. Her muscles are looser, smoother, and they carry the memory of every time she tossed the ball. Now she's hitting more often than missing. The girl is you. And remember, this is a card in reverse, the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles is doing nothing, basically. They're not efforting a great deal. And in reverse, this is telling us there are things that you're going to need to do in order to bring through this truest authentic self. And sometimes that is a never giving up. I have a beautiful card that this friend gave me that is so much me. In fact, I'm going to get it. I framed it because it means so much to me, and it is so truly me. The card is She Who Never Gives Up. And of course, kind of looks like me in many ways. But that is the truth. Yesterday, I remembered a thing when I was working with a client. Many of you know I'm holding the retreat, and it isn't full yet, and it's 5 weeks away. And so it was like I was talking to her about a time about 12 years ago when I was hosting a conference and had a great deal of money out. And actually, I was talking about the brain vitamin that I take, because at that point I went, now that I know what it actually does and I feel that difference, I will always take this vitamin. But I realized, God, I've been pushing away at this, bringing people into, for me to do some teaching for many years. And it's always, up until now, three of my favorite words, been partially successful, never wildly successful. And so this never giving up aspect is huge in who we are. And sometimes it really is a very personal, really working. I've said before, we are the highest mountains we will ever climb in this lifetime. We are the biggest mystery, but never giving up, allowing, good morning, Adina, never giving up on allowing the truth of who we are to be made known to us in bits and pieces. Sometimes, if we get too much of that truth, too much of that information, it is overwhelming. But having things come through, this whole thing about never really quite making things hugely successful, I laugh because there aren't lots of times in life when I ask Creator God, the universe, for a sign. But when I've done some deep work, twice now, the thing that has come up was, you need to know your power. And what I've said is, great God, great. I am willing to know my power. Show me what that is. How about a sign? One time I'm in the river doing some clearing, and this time it was in early fall. This part of the river very fished out. We had not seen minnows, nobody hitting the surface in the evening, and no hints of fish here. Beautiful, beautiful river, and this lovely place where I could stand up to my chest. And so in the evening I went, okay, God, and show me a sign. And the vision I got was all these little tiny minnows coming up to me. So I'm standing in the river, and what comes up out of the corner of my eye, I jump, but it doesn't startle, as this huge, I mean, it was probably 18 inches trout just lazily right in front of me. It's like, really, God? Really? Just a version of, okay. It's like God messes with me, and it's like, you're powerful, but I'm not handing it to you on a platter. You need to keep persisting. Second time was, I was hiking, went, okay, I'm willing to understand my power. How about a jackrabbit? Because we don't have lots around here right now. Many years ago, they had a thing where they eliminated them because they were eating the crops up. And I went, how about a jackrabbit? I see one on occasion. Nope. Finish my hike. I'm driving home down my street that I'm on all the time. And underneath this cart in someone's yard is this huge black and white domestic bunny. Never saw it before. Again, it's like, you just like to screw with me, don't you, God? This is, it's like, we're not handing you anything on a platter, because the act of discovery within ourselves, the act of working it out, fully getting to know in a timely manner, is huge because of the depth with which we get to discover ourselves. And the next card coming up, this gorgeous, is death. And look what happens, though. Down at the bottom of the death card comes new roots, and up through it, a beautiful flower. And that death is always a symbol of being reborn, really diving into who we really are by letting go of the illusions that we've been accepting as truth about ourselves, being given as truth about ourselves. We have to allow that to fall away. And that's one of the reasons things aren't quick, to the point. There's so much gleaning to be done in the process. So being open, willing, and ready, and choosing to step into the truth of who you really are, and never giving up that quest, is huge, because that is where the dying away of who you are not is replaced by the truth of who you are. And it needs to come a little bit at a time. If everything we are just fell away, it's kind of like when I work with people doing energy work and do the energy clearing. And when I do that, I tell them, this is like we're taking the cork out of the bottle, and a bunch of the bubbles come up, but there's still this champagne left in there. That is that same energy that we have released a fair amount of, that will come up more gently now, but it will come again. You can't remove all of it at once. and be okay and balanced and steady within yourself. So we will die to the old. Page of Swords. These cards are just, look at that beautiful card, the Page of Swords. This Radiant Tarot is all very much animal heads and that kind of things. And Page of Swords wants us to know King of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. Beginnings, curious, eager, immature. A page is innocent. A page will jump right off the edge of the cliff. It's like the fool. It's willing. You know, children are wild. We've had that the other day, a page card, in that be willing to be childlike in your quest. Um, Pure energy, the mind electrified with creative inspiration, yearning, and curiosity. Staying curious brings so much inspiration and information into our lives. What does that look like for you? Staying curious and being childlike in your quest. The page is discovering wowed by the new thoughts. Oh, the page is discovering, wowed by the new thoughts and inspired ideas that rush through his thrilled and supercharged brain. So that being curious and the willingness to see what is true about us and accepting that. The acceptance sometimes for me has been kind of hard. Again, that understanding my power and those fun little almost signs that are what I asked for. But I've had a couple of dreams or inspirations that came through with some very powerful aspects of who I am. And I've gone, I can't really say that. I can't really own. And one of them, because now I no longer choose to do that, is I channel the energy of White Buffalo Calf Woman, who is a very powerful indigenous healer. The White Buffalo Calf is very revealed, and she brings through that magic, that transformational, that healing energy. And when I was given that, I mean, I was directly told that in a dream. It was like, I can't say that. I mean, she's a shaman. I would never call myself a shaman because I've not received that training, do not yet have that inspiration that that is what I need to do. But I can bring through her powerful healing energy. And that was affirmed by someone watching me do a healing who had never met me before. She came in to the home where I was working on this, friend of both of ours. And we got done with the healing. And of course, nothing was mentioned about White Buffalo Catwoman or anything. And she said to me, wow, that was really beautiful. Can you tell me about the white buffalo that's with you and the unicorn? And it was just like, I was speechless. I went, well, this is a great affirmation of something I was told that I have been hesitant to tell anyone because of the arrogance. But the truth is, it isn't me. It is me that gets to bring it through. And so be curious as to who you really are. Be curious and open to receiving the incredible, powerful you that is waiting to be brought into this lifetime. The Three of Swords upright is the next card. It's kind of, you know, all these swords piercing the heart, but look at that beautiful flower in the center. The Three of Swords. Thank you. It really was beautiful, Adina. Okay, the Three of Swords. The pattern made by the Three of Swords can suggest violence to the heart, but also the flower of hope. It is associated with the end of a relationship, even death, which is the card we've already seen. This relationship is the one that you currently have with yourself, the one who will not accept the beauty and the truth of who you are. It is time to allow that to die, and it is time to stay persistent in that relentless. When those mean thoughts, the mean girl, work I guess I do need to bring back the workshop for the mean girl to help people release, to actually introduce them to them and help them send them off or transform them into the power girl. But that mean girl would have you believe one thing, but the truth is something very different. So what is it that you want to give way to, let go, release, allow to die in order to bring through the blooming flower of truth, the new life that the death of the old is creating? And oh, look at that beautiful card. This is judgment. There is the butterfly, the transformation. The judgment card, and the judgment card came up in reverse. And so she's number 20. The judgment card at first might seem close to justice and temperance and the emperor. It is a card about evaluation, balance, and clear and objective understanding. However, the object of judgment in the card is you, yourself. The mirror reflects on you. Your judgment of yourself in love, career, creative work, health, family relations, and so on should be honest and critical. And when this card is in reverse, it is telling you that you are not valuing yourself to the truest spiritual powerhouse that you are. And it's time to step out of that limited box that this old way of being, thinking, and doing in this world have put you in. It is now time to allow yourself to live the truth that is yours, to allow this beautiful power self come through and create more of what you desire in this life and less of what you don't. Because we have the power to do that, but we really have to align with our truest creative self. We are creating and allowing in this belief of we're not that special. We're nothing really that needs to be brought out into the world. We don't really have much to offer. We're just kind of stuck in this belief system of our powerlessness. And, there are many forces out there and have been for hundreds of years that want us to stay there because that is easy to control. When we start opening up to the truth of our power and letting our incredibly powerful light shine, then we are a threat to those powers that were. And we get to bring through this huge transformation the world is going through with greater ease, with more soft edges, with more awareness and beauty. So it is up to us to step into our truest self, align with that. And it is as easy as I am open, willing, and ready to see who I am and to receive those steps moving forward. Perhaps one of those steps is the Beyond Healing Retreat. Stuff just keeps coming through for inclusion in that. So if you are not truly standing in the truth and power of who you are, consider that 7-day powerful, life-changing. There's a life before and a life after this Beyond Healing Retreat. I invite you to consider it. It is within the realm of your possibility if it is something that resonates with you and you're attracted to. Be open, willing, and ready to receive what that looks like and feels like for you and how you can make it happen. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage, on your side, your wisdom guided oracle. Until we meet again.